Attention Social Security and SSI recipients. You've likely seen the viral headlines and the buzz on social media claiming a massive $3,200 payment is hitting bank accounts this February 1st, 2026. But is this a surprise stimulus, a new bonus, or just more internet noise? Today we are cutting through the confusion to give you the exact schedule and the real numbers behind your next check. First, let's clear the air. February 1st, 2026 falls on a Sunday. This means if you are an SSI recipient, your payment actually arrives early, on Friday, January 30th. As for that $3,200 figure, while the 2026 COLA of 2.8% is officially in effect, most beneficiaries will see an average increase of about $56. That $3,200 number is often a misunderstanding of the maximum possible benefit for certain high earners, not a flat check for everyone. In this video, we're breaking down the official SSA calendar for February, explaining exactly why your deposit date might have shifted, and showing you how to calculate your personal 2026 raise so you aren't left guessing. Don't let the clickbait rumors affect your budget. Get the facts straight from the source right here. If you find this update helpful and want to stay ahead of the latest Social Security news, please hit that like button to help us reach more seniors who need this info. Now that we've set the stage with that major February 1st headline, it's time to really dig into the meat of what is happening with your Social Security benefits as we move further into 2026. I know there is a lot of talk out there about huge lump sum payments and sudden stimulus checks, but when you are managing a household on a fixed income, you need more than just hype. You need the hard facts that your bank account can actually count on. Today, we are going to walk through every detail of the 2026 payment structure, starting with the immediate shifts in the February schedule and moving into how the 2.8% cost of living adjustment, or COLA, is actually affecting your bottom line. It's one thing to hear a percentage, but it's another thing entirely to see how that money is divvied up after Medicare premiums and other deductions take their bite. We're also going to address that $3,200 figure head-on, explaining who might actually see a check that size and why. For the vast majority of us, the math looks a little different. My goal is to make sure that by the time you finish this video, you feel completely in control of your financial calendar for the rest of the year. Let's start with the most immediate thing you need to know about your February money. If you are someone who relies on Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, you've probably noticed that the first of the month often brings a bit of a scheduling puzzle. Because February 1st, 2026 falls on a Sunday, the Social Security Administration follows its long-standing rule of moving that payment up to the preceding Friday. This means that for millions of SSI recipients, your February money actually hit your accounts or arrived in your mailboxes on Friday, January 30th. This is a critical point because when that money arrives a few days early, it can feel like a bonus, but we have to remember it has to stretch through the entire month of February. If you were looking for that deposit on Sunday morning and didn't see it, go back and check your Friday transactions, as the SSA is very consistent about ensuring those funds are available before the weekend begins. For those of you on traditional Social Security retirement or disability, your schedule remains tied to your birth date, and we are going to break those specific Wednesdays down shortly so you can circle the exact date on your kitchen calendar. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the $3,200 headline. Where does a number like that even come from? In the world of social media, numbers often get stripped of their context to create a more exciting story. The reality is that $3,200 is actually very close to the average monthly benefit for a retired couple where both partners are receiving benefits in 2026. Following the 2.8% COLA increase, the average payout for a married couple has risen to approximately $3,280. So, if you are a household where both you and your spouse are collecting, that $3,200 figure might actually be your reality. However, for a single retiree, the average check is closer to $2,071. It is so important to understand this distinction because I don't want anyone waiting for a single $3,200 check if their benefit profile doesn't match that specific scenario. The 2.8% increase was designed to help us keep pace with inflation, but as many of you have pointed out in the comments of my previous videos, The real-world inflation we feel at the grocery store or the gas station often feels much higher than the official government numbers suggest. Speaking of that 2.8% increase, we have to look at the hidden side of the COLA, which is the Medicare Part B premium. For most of you, that premium is automatically deducted from your Social Security check before it even reaches your bank account. In 2026, we've seen those premiums climb to about $201.90 per month. When you do the math, a $56 average increase from the COLA often gets whittled down significantly once the new Medicare costs are factored in. This is what many advocates call the COLA squeeze, and it's a very real challenge for seniors trying to balance their budgets. If your gross increase was $56 but your Medicare premium went up by nearly $18, your actual take-home raise might only be around $38. While every dollar counts, it's important to manage your expectations so you aren't surprised when the deposit notification pops up on your phone. Understanding these net versus gross numbers is the key to avoiding a budget shortfall in the middle of the month. As we look deeper into the February 2026 schedule for those not on SSI, we see the standard staggered payment dates. For those of you who have been receiving benefits since before May 1997, or if you receive both Social Security and SSI, your payment date is set for February 3rd. For everyone else, we follow the Wednesday rule based on your birthday. If your birthday falls between the 1st and the 10th of the month, your check will arrive on Wednesday, February 11th. If you were born between the 11th and the 20th, you're looking at February 18th. And finally, if your birthday is between the 21st and the 31st, your payment will be deposited on February 25th. Knowing these dates is your first line of defense against financial stress. It allows you to time your bill payments, especially those that offer a bit of a grace period, so that you are never paying out more than you have in the bank. I always recommend setting up alerts through your bank's mobile app so you get a text the second that SSA Trias deposit hits. Another major factor that is influencing the 2026 landscape is the change in the maximum taxable earnings and the maximum possible benefit. For the highest earners, the people who have paid the maximum amount into the system for at least 35 years, the maximum Social Security benefit has actually climbed to an impressive $5,181 per month for those retiring at age 70. While most of us aren't in that top bracket, these numbers are a reflection of how the entire system is scaling upward. It also means that if you are still working while collecting benefits, the earnings test limits have changed. In 2026, if you are under full retirement age, you can earn up to $2,040 per month before the SSA begins to temporarily withhold part of your benefits. This is a slight increase from last year, giving you a bit more room to supplement your income without being penalized. It's a vital piece of information for anyone who is working a part-time job to help bridge the gap created by rising housing and utility costs. We also need to touch on the ongoing transition to electronic payments. If you are still one of the very few people receiving a paper check in the mail, the SSA has made it clear that they are pushing hard for 100% electronic delivery through direct deposit or the Direct Express debit card. This isn't just about saving the government money on postage, it's about security. Paper checks are vulnerable to mail theft and weather delays, which we've seen plenty of this winter. If your February 1st payment, which, as we noted, would have arrived Friday for SSI, hasn't shown up, the very first thing to check is your My Social Security account online. This portal is the most reliable way to verify where your money was sent and if there are any holds on your account. In a world where phone scams are becoming increasingly sophisticated, having that direct, secure line of communication with the SSA is your best protection against fraud. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the anxiety that often comes with these updates. It seems like every week there's a new rumor about emergency checks or stimulus 4. It is so tempting to hope for a sudden $3,200 windfall from the government, especially when you see those headlines. But the truth is, the most reliable stimulus you have is a clear understanding of your scheduled benefits and the COLA adjustments. By staying informed and ignoring the sensationalism, you put yourself in a position of power. You can plan your grocery trips, manage your prescriptions, and keep your lights on without the constant fear that you're missing out on some secret payment. The 2026 COLA of 2.8% is the reality for this year. And while we all hope for more support from Congress in the future, we have to build our lives on the facts we have today. As we move toward the end of February, remember that the cycle resets quickly. The SSI payment for March will actually be arriving on February 27th because March 1st is also a Sunday. This creates a double payment month in February for SSI recipients, which can be confusing. You'll get your February money at the very end of January and your March money at the very end of February. It might feel like you're getting extra checks, but it's just the calendar shifting things around. Be very careful not to spend that February 27th deposit as if it's extra money, because that is actually your entire budget for the month of March. This kind of calendar management is one of the most important skills for anyone on a fixed income, and it's why I'm here every week to help you navigate these shifts. To wrap everything up, it is vital to remember that while the $3,200 figure makes for a sensational headline, your actual financial security depends on the specific details we've discussed today. In 2026, the Social Security landscape is defined by a 2.8% COLA increase, which brings the average retired worker's benefit to $2,071, while a married couple where both receive benefits will see that average climb to $3,208. This is why that $3,200 number is circulating. It is a very real average for millions of households, but it isn't a flat bonus payment for every individual. For those of you on SSI, your maximum federal payment has moved up to $994 for individuals and $1,491 for couples. As we move into February, keep a close eye on your bank statements. Since February 1st falls on a Sunday, SSI recipients should have already seen their funds arrive on Friday, January 30th. For everyone else, your Wednesday schedule remains the gold standard. February 11th for birthdays on the 1st 10th, February 18th for the 11th 20th, and February 25th for the 21st 31st. However, don't forget the Medicare squeeze. With the Part B premium officially rising to $202.90 this year, many of you will see about $17.90 of your COLA raise go directly back to healthcare costs. This is why managing your expectations is just as important as managing your money. If you are ever in doubt about your specific payment amount, I highly encourage you to log into your My Social Security account to view your 2026 benefit verification letter. This document is the only way to see exactly what is being deducted for taxes and Medicare so you aren't caught off guard. Knowledge is your best defense against the clickbait and confusion that often surrounds Social Security news. By understanding the difference between a gross increase and your actual take-home pay, and by knowing exactly which Wednesday to expect your deposit, you can navigate 2026 with a sense of control and stability. This final segment completes the comprehensive script, ensuring you reach the full depth and technical detail required to keep your audience informed. Part 3. Protecting your future and maximizing benefits. Beyond the dates and the dollar amounts, there is a broader picture of financial health that we must address to ensure that your February 1st payment serves as a foundation for a successful year. One of the most common questions I receive as we enter this new payment cycle is whether these increases will push beneficiaries into a higher tax bracket. It is a valid concern because as your gross income rises due to the 2.8% COLA, you may find that a larger portion of your benefits becomes subject to federal income tax. Typically, if you file a federal tax return as an individual and your combined income, which is your adjusted gross income plus non-taxable interest and half of your Social Security benefits, is between $25,000 and $34,000, you may have to pay income tax on up to 50% of your benefits. If your income exceeds $34,000, up to 85% of your benefits could be taxable. For couples filing jointly, these thresholds are $32,000 and $44,000 respectively. Understanding these limits now, at the start of the year, allows you to adjust your withholdings early so you aren't hit with a surprise bill next April. We also have to discuss the Windfall Elimination Provision, or WEP, and the Government Pension Offset, or GPO. For many of our viewers who worked in jobs where they didn't pay Social Security taxes, such as some government positions or international employment, these provisions can significantly reduce the amount of Social Security you receive. With the 2026 adjustments, the formulas for WEP and GPO have also been updated. It is crucial to check your My Social Security account to see how these offsets are being applied to your new 2026 rate. Many people are surprised to find that their COLA increase doesn't match the national average because these offsets are calculated based on your non-covered pension amounts. Staying on top of these technicalities is what separates a prepared retiree from one who is constantly reacting to changes in their check. As we look toward the spring and summer of 2026, keep in mind that Social Security is more than just a retirement program. For those receiving Social Security Disability Insurance, or SSDI, these substantial gainful activity limits have also increased. In 2026, non-blind disabled individuals can earn up to $1,620 per month, while blind individuals can earn up to $2,700 per month without losing their disability benefits. This is an important window of opportunity for those who feel they can take on limited work to help cover the rising costs of housing or medical supplies. However, always remember to report your earnings to the SSA promptly to avoid overpayment notices, which can be a nightmare to resolve months down the line. Finally, I want to address the importance of community and advocacy. The rumors you see about $3,200 stimulus checks often stem from a genuine desire for more support for our seniors. While those specific headlines may be misleading, there is a very real conversation happening in Washington about the Social Security Expansion Act and other legislative efforts to change the COLA calculation from the CPI-W to the CPI-E, which specifically tracks the spending patterns of the elderly. By staying informed with facts rather than fiction, you can effectively participate in these conversations and contact your representatives with accurate data. Your voice is powerful, but it is most effective when backed by the reality of the SSA's 2026 calendar and cost structures. Thank you for trusting me to break down these complex updates. Managing a fixed income in 2026 requires a mix of technical knowledge, calendar discipline, and a healthy dose of skepticism toward viral rumors. You now have the full schedule for February, the truth about the $3,200 average, and the tools to calculate your net pay after Medicare and taxes. Let's make this year one of financial clarity and security.